In today's video, we will talk about some of the precautions that you should take if you're going to sell PCs to the general public and you're going to flip PCs for a little bit of profit. Now, everyone likes to make a little bit of money here and there, don't they? And selling PCs can be quite a nice little lucrative way to make a little bit of money. However, and I will have to say this is a however, you do need to take the correct precautions when dealing with the general public, because as we know, there's all sorts of things like scams, especially now with money being tighter. There's other issues that you could come up with the general public, you know, your own safety, your own personal safety as well. That's something to consider. And let's basically just talk about the points that I've made here, and just so that you can go away and maybe have a little bit more knowledge in terms of taking the best precaution to ensure that your safety and ensure that what you're doing is professional and well done, and obviously everything is above board and all good. So Michael, what do I really mean by this? Well, really, like I said, there are scams and what have you, and these are sort of the points that I would actually make in terms of actually, you know, what I do anyway to actually take precautions here. So the first one is basically to take a note of all serial numbers on the parts that you buy. So basically, when you're buying parts, whether that's from a person themselves, maybe on Facebook Marketplace, and you're getting a good deal there, or if you're buying parts on Amazon, eBay, Gumtree, whatever it is, always just write down whatever that serial number is of that part. Now, if you want me to go a bit further, I can actually show you like a spreadsheet that I do, which actually puts all the, I put basically when I do a new build or a new sort of PC build, I put down all the parts that I'm going to use, obviously, for that build. I then put down the cost of that of every single part, and obviously with the total. And then I also put down the serial number in terms of what the serial number is for that part. Now, this is actually a really kind of key thing, because I have had this in the past, and I'll be honest with you guys again. I'll kind of talk about some of the stories that I've kind of happened with flipping PCs in this video as well. So it might be quite a nice thing for you guys to kind of sort of, you know, get a little bit more experience if you're very new to flipping PCs. So basically this time, which kind of I got scammed, but I kind of just about got myself out of it, and in the end it kind of turned out fine. But basically, I sold a nice gaming PC to this guy. He seemed fine, didn't seem any problems with him. I thought, no, we shouldn't get any problems, but we did get a little problem a little bit later on. So about a week later, he messages me and says, the computer's just not displaying any output, and I just can't get anything from the graphics card, and do you know what's happened? And I'm like, oh, really? That's odd. I mean, I've tested that graphics card loads, and you know, and I actually used it quite a bit previously, and I was like, I'm sure there's nothing actually wrong with it. And I basically said, yeah, no worries, mate. I'll take the PC back off you, and we'll have a look. So I get the PC back home. First thing I do is take off the cover and just check the serial number of that graphics card to make sure that graphics card in there was the graphics card I put in the PC, obviously. That's just my first initial kind of precaution check, because I was thinking, you never know. And obviously, lo and behold, the serial number doesn't match up to the one I put in his PC. So I messaged the guy and I said, look, I think we've got a bit of an issue here, mate. I think you might have swapped out my graphics card, which was a working graphics card, and you've probably put it into another PC, and then you put your broken graphics card into this PC and tried to claim that it was broken. Now, obviously, the card actually was the same card as well. I will say as well, it was the same model, if you will. So I couldn't actually tell initially from the photos and what have you, and the photos that he actually sent me when he kind of messaged me back, I couldn't actually tell that it was a different graphics card. But obviously, when I checked the serial number, I could tell that they were two separate graphics cards, even though they looked exactly the same and were the same model. So that's a precaution that you need to take, guys. And in the end, we kind of resolved it, and I said, look, mate, just don't do that again, and I'll give you your PC back, and we won't talk about it any further. And to be fair, he actually was quite responsive in that sense, and he did actually just apologise and said, yeah, I apologise. I tried to scam you, but you saw through it, and thankfully, we all kind of just, I kind of just let it go. I mean, really, I suppose technically you could probably press things forward, but I think the police have enough. The police have enough on their hands now as it is. So I didn't want to get them involved and what have you. And it's just not my sort of thing. And to be fair, he did actually, he was actually okay after it. So I kind of let that one go and let that slide. But there is actually a few incidents as well from that as well, and we'll talk about that in as we go along this video. So that's the biggest precaution, I would say. Get your serial numbers down. Make sure that the serial number that you've got in your record is the one that you're using. That's the part that you're using in that PC. And basically just be cautious in that sense. So that's a little story for you guys. So the second sort of point that I'll say is really when you're dealing with the general public. This is maybe more on the Facebook marketplace and when you're going sort of face to face with people and what have you. And you're sort of messaging them to kind of come to an agreement in terms of what the price is and what have you. I mean, my general approach is, in terms of the haggling side, really I want to get the price that I've put on the listing for. So if I put down £400, I really do want to get £400 from the sale. Now, I will have a little bit of wiggle room. Personally, I probably only go about £50 lower than whatever I've stated on the listing. I think that would be my absolute maximum discount that I'd possibly give. But even then, I probably wouldn't want to go any more. I certainly wouldn't go any more than £50. But my general rule is, and this is the next point, is once you've confirmed and they've agreed to a price and you've agreed to a price and it's all settled, if they come back saying, I want it a little bit more cheaper, or can you do it more cheaper, I just cut them off. Personally, I just don't deal with the person anymore, because for me, the price is the price that we've agreed at. You want to go ahead with it, you're happy to go ahead with it. Now you've changed your mind. I'm not happy with that, and that's not. Basically, I've had problems in the past where someone has done this to me. Basically, I said something, I can't remember the exact things, but I've said £250. They've gone down to 240. We've agreed at 240. Both parties are in agreement. They've then come back and said, well, I've gone to the bank and I can actually only get 230 out. Would you take 230? And I'm like, no, we've agreed on 240. I'm sorry, we have agreed on 240. And we're either proceeding with 240 or you're not getting the PC. I'll be honest with you guys, like that is my kind of one rule that I have in terms of dealing with the public and that. I mean, I'm not going to get played around with, can you just keep knocking off a little bit here and there and what have you, because the problem is that as soon as you start going, I'll take the 230, what happens if you then potentially, especially if you're delivering the PC rather than they're collecting it. I mean, if they're collecting it, I might, like if they've actually turned up on my doorstep with £230 and I want to do the deal, I might actually just take the 230 then. That's the only exception that I probably would make. But if I'm having to drive out to you, I'm already doing you a deal. If I've haggled a little bit and I've given you a little bit of money off, I've already given you a deal as it is. Now to try and get even more out of me, especially when I've driven half an hour to get to you and I'm going to have to drive half an hour to get back to you, plus the fuel money as well. That's another thing that you've got to consider when flipping PCs. I'm not having you show up with 230 and then saying that's all I've got, mate, because you've agreed on the price. So again, that's another rule of mine. Just stick to your price. If they've agreed on a price, you stick to it. I'm not having it any other way. Another precaution that I would say, and another sort of story I'll mention as well, and this actually happened fairly recently. There's a woman who basically, if you can feel that there's too many messengers and there's too many kind of questions that they're asking, again, I would just cut it off personally. I had a woman recently sort of say to me, look, message me and say, oh, I'm interested in the PC and what have you, and then I'm like, oh okay, yeah, yeah, and then do you want, can you collect it or deliver? And she said, oh well, I don't drive. Can you deliver it? So I was like, okay, that's fine. And then basically, I sort of say, what's your address then? And then I'll come round and I'll deliver it. And then she kind of basically just didn't reply to me for a bit. And then she replied to me and said, oh, do you know what games it's going to run well? And I was like, well, I've kind of given you some examples in the listing of the games that I've had. And then I'm like, okay, well what games are you sort of looking towards? And I think she said like Texas Chainsaw Massacre and all that sort, and another. I think it was something like that. I can't remember exactly the games what she said. I think one of them was an older game and one of them was quite a new game. And I basically said, well, the new game's probably not going to play too well because it's an older PC, but the older game will probably be actually quite alright. And then she said, oh, okay, that's okay. Oh, I've got another question, by the way. And I'm like, okay, I'm not really liking where this is going. But anyway, how many USB ports has it got? Okay, and I'm like, oh, right. Well, it's got 6 on the back and then 3 on the front, love. And then she's like, oh, okay. Oh, has it got thumb screws as well? Or is it just normal screws to take off the back panel? And I'm like, okay. At this point, I'm starting to get, hang on a minute, I'm not liking where this is going. Because, so yeah, this is another point that you have to be wary of people potentially wanting to take parts out of your PC and put them into their PC, because this is another thing that I really don't like trying to deal with. There is people, I mean, if it is just something like someone you're selling a PC to someone who's experienced and knows PCs, then I probably would do it. But where I have a bit of a problem is when you're selling PCs to someone who's maybe a little bit more novice and kind of wants to play around with PCs, then you can get yourself into trouble for selling a PC to them, and then they maybe take out a part which they wanted, and then they've either transferred it to a different PC, or they're just taking it out to kind of experiment for themselves of how to build a PC, which is fine. I don't mind that too much. But then they obviously damage the component, or they've moved it to another PC and what have you. And personally, I just don't like to deal with it. What I want from my customer is them just coming up saying, look, I don't know anything about PCs, I just want a PC, can you do this price? Yes, I can. There's the exchange. They're never going to touch the PC apart from plugging it in and switching it on and switching it off. They're never going to actually touch the insides, and that's really what I want, because I don't want them mucking around inside the PC as well, really. I mean, fair enough, if you know what you're doing and you buy the PC and you're kind of thinking, okay, maybe I can sort of resell a couple of these components and take a few out, or even potentially I can upgrade the graphics card. I mean, fair enough, if you want to do that, that's okay. I don't really have a problem as long as I've got the price that I've got for it. That's fair enough. But it's when you're having to deal with more novice people and they're kind of wanting to, take the side panel off and what have you. That's when I kind of get a bit more. I don't really want to go down that route. Now, obviously, I do kind of have a little bit of support for people if, say, 6 months down the line, one of their components just suddenly stops and is faulty. I will try and do the honourable thing and actually try and fix that and resolve that for them, and potentially even free of charge replace the part if it's not too expensive for me to do. I have done that in the past 1 or 2 times, but obviously you don't really want to do that much because it's going to cost you in your pocket, obviously. So to a certain degree, there's a little bit of leeway, but I don't want to be played. I think that's the biggest thing. I think just take precaution, like I said in this video. When you're dealing with the general public, anything and everything can happen. And now the final sort of point that I'll sort of point out, this video's gone a little bit sort of random at times, but we'll kind of make it up as best as we can. That's kind of how I do most of my videos anyway, guys, isn't it? But anyway, the last point I'll sort of say is, basically, if they are paying in cash, make sure they've actually paid you the correct amount before you give over the PC. I know that seems like a really stupid and easy thing to say, but I have had it in the past, and this is again a bit of a horror story. But, well, it wasn't a horror story, but it was just a bit of a crap one. But basically, I've gone to someone's house with the PC. I've it's like a block of flats, so I've obviously got let in to the block of flats. I found out where the number to that person is. I've knocked on their door. Then they've answered it, and they've been very kind of suspicious, if you will, in terms of they've opened the door a little bit. And I'm at that stage, as a more experienced seller now, I'd be a bit wary of that. But when I was about a year or two, I think it was about 2 years ago actually, and I wasn't really too aware of sort of things that could happen, and I was kind of a little bit innocent, if you will. Basically, the guy basically opened the door a little bit, showed me the money, and said, "Here's the money, mate." And then obviously I've just taken it off him, not thinking anything about it. The PC was placed on the floor without me actually, still I didn't have my hands on it. Basically, I didn't even have my legs around it. Now, if whenever I knock on the door now, I'll have my legs around the PC or the PC box, just to make sure that no one can nick it. So basically, he's pulled the PC back around, quickly shut the door on me. I haven't had time to count the money. So, and obviously he's locked the door as well to his apartment. And first of all, I don't have a problem with not going into someone's apartment. That's I don't, I respect that. If someone doesn't want me to go inside, I don't have a problem with that. But when you try to do a very quick transaction on me, I'm concerned then, and that's something that you need to be very concerned about. If they're wanting to get the transaction through very, very quickly and not say anything to you, then that's when the problems usually happen. Because basically at that time I didn't really think anything about it, and I just sort of took the money and started to walk to my car. But basically I've got out of the block of flats. Now looking at it, I would have just knocked on his door again and tried to well, first of all, I wouldn't have given him the PC obviously now, because that's something I've learned, to fully check the money before you actually give the PC over. But anyway, I've got outside, got to my car, counted the money, and it's £50 short. So I've counted it about 3 times, and every time it was £50 short. So I tried to message the guy, because that was Facebook Marketplace again. He's blocked me. Now we know we've been done here. So he's blocked me, and I can't message him now anymore. And he's got the PC for £50 less than we had agreed for. Now I tried to then ring his doorbell, but obviously he wouldn't answer. I wasn't getting inside, and I thought, look, sod it, I'm just going to have to take the hit on this one. So I've ended up just taking the hit, and got £50 less than what we had agreed at. But I suppose it wasn't like a really expensive PC. I mean, I think I probably only paid about £300 for it. So, I mean, I lost 50 quid, but like, at the end of the day, it's not going to bankrupt me. I mean, that's one good thing of looking at it. But this is just something again that you need to really be cautious about when you go to meet up someone, whether it's buying or selling. Just be wary of the public, and make sure that you're doing the right thing. You're getting the correct transaction that you're happy with and that they're happy with. The transaction goes smoothly, and each party moves away happily from the transaction. And that's the big thing I want to say. Scamming is happening, and actually, to be honest, it's happening even more than it was previously. It's unfortunate because people are in desperate times at the moment, and money is getting very tight for people, and people will do these sort of things on you to get a little upper hand on themselves, and they'll feel happy about it, which personally I'm too honourable, and I can't ever do that to someone. And it's sad that people even think about doing that to someone, in my opinion. But just be wary, guys, and keep your whereabouts about yourself, and make sure that you're taking the correct transaction that you're happy with when you either buy or sell a PC. But that's kind of my advice for today, and I just want to kind of do an advice video just to kind of let you into sort of some of the issues that I've had. It's not all fun and games selling PCs, I'll be honest. Like there is downsides to it. There is stress and strain involved in it. If I'm being honest, it's not. Sometimes, certainly with the American YouTubers, I find they paint it into the best picture possible, where you just buy £200 worth of components and sell them on for 400 and make loads of money and everything's great. But no, it doesn't really work like that, guys. This is the real world, and things happen. You know, people will be people, and you know, they're happy to sort of do you a dirty if they gain on it. So be wary, guys. Take the correct precautions in obviously everything that you do, but you should be taking precaution. But anyway, that's another story. But anyway, yeah, but yeah, you know, just be wary of what you're doing. I would say, especially with Facebook Marketplace, that is a bit of a wild west. So just be wary of what you're doing, and maybe if you can offer some advice to other people in the comments of what you've done to protect yourself when you're selling PCs, or whether you're buying PC components or any other thing. You know, if you're buying or selling any other things off Facebook Marketplace or anything to do with the public, just give me some advice, or give the people in the comments below a bit of advice as well, because I think, you know, all advice is worthy of you know, letting it out there, because the more exposure that people have to these things, the more they're going to think about this. So, and yeah, we're having a big push now towards the 1,000 subscribers, so please subscribe. I can't say this enough. Please do subscribe to my videos, because if we can get to that big 1,000, then I'll be able to monetize my videos, and we'll be able to move forward a little bit easier with this channel. You know, and we'll have a little bit of pocket money to even buy a few more components for you guys to get on this channel as well. Because at the moment we're a little bit, you know, we'll be honest, we're a little bit broke, but we're still doing fine, guys. There will be over the next couple of weeks a couple more videos coming out, which are more on sort of components and what have you, or maybe even the odd PC build here and there. So obviously, please subscribe so you can see those future videos. Like the video for the algorithm. Leave a comment if you want, and as always, guys, I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.